All right, everyone. We start off today talking about Pelosi's remarks with regards to the forthcoming debate that will probably happen, but it could still be up in the air, between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. That's in the middle of June, so we've only got a month to wait for that. I'm excited. I will be live streaming during that debate. I'll probably be in Europe at the time, so I'm going to have to pull an all-nighter. So that's going to be a little unpleasant, but it's worth it. It's one of two debates that's scheduled. It's going to be, one of the bigger events of the election season. I sort of have a responsibility to live react to that one. Pelosi weighed in and said, well, I'm not so sure that it's a good idea for Biden to be debating Trump. Now, there's an excuse making here. The real reason is because she's afraid that Joe Biden is going to perform very poorly. He's had 4 more years to crepitate. He already didn't do well in the debates in 2020, in the primaries or in the general election. He can do the bravado big boy suspender snapping thing and say, well, I beat him 2 debates already. I can do 2 more. That's bravado. The casual viewer already had made up their mind who they were going to vote for before they watched the debate. Independent voters, I don't think were swayed by Joe Biden. We see this in the final results in the election. Joe Biden performed poorly. He's now 4 years more advanced into his cognitive decline. He has difficulty even reading a teleprompter half the time. Trump has his own verbal problem. He tends to do the stream of consciousness thing, and so sometimes he has a really good opportunity to really slam a jam at his opponent, and then he veers off into another subject. And so actually the mic muting thing, ironically, may help Donald Trump by forcing him to focus more on the question that's been asked or the subject at hand, because he's not going to have time to veer off. You're going to have no audience, the mic muting, which will be used against Trump mainly. You're going to probably have live fact-checking of everything Trump says. Jake Tapper is going to be one of the moderators, so it's not going to be fair. And then you have the legacy media at large. They all support Joe Biden. They don't like Trump. Jake Tapper has made numerous comments to the effect that Trump is unhinged, that he undermines democracy, etc. Trump knows he's not going to get a fair shake at the debates. Despite all of the ingrained advantages that Joe Biden has going into this debate, and that's the reason why he's chosen to participate, presumptively. Pelosi still doesn't believe he can do it. Now, her excuse, of course, is, well, Donald Trump, he doesn't follow the rules on stage, and, he lacks the decorum. He doesn't act presidential. Joe Biden acts presidential and in very calm demeanor, solemn, he's well-spoken, ha, it's a funny one. And Donald Trump, he just, he's deranged, basically. He was stalking stalking Hillary Clinton on stage in 2016, which he kind of did. It was hilarious, actually, at the time, the body language, wish he could do that to Biden, etc., etc. But that's an excuse. Really, the reason why Pelosi is, saying, I'm not so sure about this, is because she knows what happens when the economy is brought up. Is anyone plausibly going to side with Joe Biden, unless they're in the 1%, on economic issues, on inflation, which he's doing a whirlwind Twitter tour right now, trying to apologize for his economy and saying, well, inflation is easing, we got all these jobs, everything's hunky-dory. Don't believe your lying eyes. The first rule of the party is don't believe what you see and hear. We'll tell you what the truth is. Sort of like CNN, ironically enough, with the WikiLeaks releases back in the day. Don't read them. We'll read through them because it's illegal for you to do so somehow. We'll read through it because for us it's okay. We're journalists. We're in the newsroom, so it's all right. And we'll tell you what you need to know. I think it's excuse-making. I think that Pelosi and other Democrats are nervous about this. I think that Joe Biden still genuinely believes that he's like 40 years old and that he's a master of rhetoric. Like back in his Senate days, he was very well-spoken and actually had a platform that kind of sort of made sense sometimes. I think that he's lost it, and so he's nostalgic for the good old days when he was a strong and powerful man, and I'm Senator Biden, get out of my fucking way, kid, and I'll take you behind the woodshed and Ashley showers and stuff like that, back when he could get it up. I think that he's still hearkening back to that, and other Democrats kind of know that, but they have no choice but to let him debate if he wants to, because even though he doesn't really call the shots policy-wise, it would look a little bit odd if the Biden camp, having been challenged repeatedly by Trump to debate, refused to debate at all. And if they use the Pelosi excuse that she's trotting out here, well, I'm not going to debate Trump because he's smelly and bad and wrong, and he'll just lie and talk over me, so I'm not going to debate him. That would look weak. Optically, it would look poor. For Biden, oddly enough, it's a win to even debate at all, even though he's going to get hammered. He's not going to be able to run on foreign policy. He's not going to be able to run on the economy. He doesn't even want the border mentioned. By the way, I doubt that the moderators will even bring up the border crisis. He can't. What is he supposed to talk about where Trump can't blindside him? He can't talk about any of these things. He'll ramble about the infrastructure deal and making investments into chip manufacturing and stuff that people don't care about generally. Niche issues that affect a few communities where a factory went up or a bridge got repaired. That's perfectly fine. Huzzah, those people might vote for Joe. Everyone else went to the grocery store in the week prior to this debate, and they saw how much it cost them. They got their wage statements and all of these other things. What about taxes? It's going to be real funny to see Joe Biden have to defend the fact that he wants the Trump tax cuts to expire. And he'll frame it as, well, you passed all these taxes for billionaires. Trump should just say, expanded child tax credit, and then say, okay, you can respond to that however you want. That would be funny. Really, really terse. Trump should, by the way, in the debate, attempt to rope-a-dope Joe Biden. But he's not going to be able to do it with the direct antagonism thing. He's going to have to lead the conversation in directions that Biden would rather not discuss the issues of. To watch him have to whirlwind around repeatedly and try to pivot to other issues. Biden is not good at doing that on the fly. He can get bogged down and dragged into things fairly easily. This happened at the State of the Union several times when the Republicans were booing him, you'll remember. Pelosi is fundamentally correct. Sure, reasoning is, of course, a facade. The real reason is because she doesn't think that Biden's going to do very well. I happen to think he won't either. The only reason why Biden will survive these debates at all is because of Trump's stream of consciousness style of speaking. His, dictate this down, and then he goes on a wild ramble or something like that. It pisses me off, actually, because Trump is a good public speaker. He just gets distracted, and he gets a little bit too amped up sometimes, whereas Joe, he sort of mutters and putters and staggers around the issue, and he'll probably be fairly low energy. They'll give him amphetamines beforehand, but as we've seen, those wear off after a while. I'm wondering, how long are these debates going to be? Are they going to keep them ultra short? Probably. Nancy Pelosi also makes another suggestion. I actually agree with it, which is that the candidates should also hold town halls. I would note that neither candidate needs the blessing of their party or anything like that to do so. Trump could outpace Joe Biden easily by simply hosting a half a dozen town halls over the course of the election season. Biden's not going to do that, not without a very carefully hand-picked audience. Well, that will be like night and day. That would be smart for Trump to do. Get televised town halls. Not debates, but just simply sit there and answer the average voter's questions on issues related to the border economy, etc. Trump does very well in town hall formats, by the way. When he doesn't have anyone adversarial challenging him and he's directly responding to a person's question, he does better than at any other time, really, in public speaking. Biden, not so much. He has difficulty actually doing that. Probably because he can't connect with the average voter. He's expecting them to vote for him basically because Orange Man bad. Pelosi, therefore, is partially right here. I mean, it is going to be bad for Joe Biden. He will lose the debates, I can guarantee that. But he won't lose them by a massive margin. A lot of the people tuning in are partisan anyway. They've already decided who they're going to support. Thankfully, about half of them have already decided to support Donald Trump. Another reason why Joe Biden doesn't want an audience at these debates, by the way. That's about all. Peace out.